I don't see my future anymore, or just disappearing before my eyes.
The sun was falling over Flagstaff, dropping long, golden shadows over the bedroom. Robyn was frozen at the bedside, her eyes fixed on a stack of untouched bills scattered on the dresser. The mortgage was late. The warnings for disconnection from utilities were mounting up. A letter from the IRS glared back at her like an ultimatum. The economic meltdown was no longer sneaking and it had come. Downstairs, Kody paced back and forth, his steps wild and laced with frustration. As if his frenetic footsteps could somehow undo the damage, they were broke, flat, and completely broke. The headlines they once mocked, the gossip spread on the internet, were now a harsh reality. Robyn's jewelry shop had failed. Kody's business ventures had imploded, and the glorious TLC checks had dwindled to a dribble, and to add insult to injury, public sympathy had evaporated. They weren't celebrities anymore. They were a warning story. "I can't do this," Robyn half whispered, her eyes brimming with tears and voice barely audible. "But what else can we do?" Kody snapped a halt to his pacing, face clenched in anger. "This is owing to Meri," he snarled, turning towards her. "She's making money with that B&B now. She doesn't share it with the family any longer. She's forgotten what she owes us." That word family used to carry some weight, but since Christine left, then Janelle, and then Meri, it was only a memory. The fantasy of a large, loving home had dissolved into bitterness and separation. Nevertheless, with a grudging breath, Robyn retrieved her telephone. Her index fingers hovered over the contact list before freezing on one name, Meri Brown. She thought, then pressed call. Far removed, the air was calm and fresh in the serene Parowan Mountains of Utah. In her warm bed and breakfast, Meri stood silently in the living area, surrounded by comforting wood and soothing vibes. Her retreat venture had boomed. Women from across the nation traveled to sit at her feet, survival stories, healing tales, and learning strength after abandonment. The phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and froze. Robyn Brown. The name sent a chill down her spine. She hadn't spoken directly to Robyn or Kody in almost a year, not since she walked away, not since she reclaimed her dignity. Curious, cautious, she answered. "Hello?" Robyn's voice cracked. "Hey, Meri." A pause. "Kody's here too," she added quickly. "We really need to talk." Meri's stomach tightened. "What's this about?" she demanded, suspicious. Robyn's voice softened into a whisper. "We're in financial trouble. The house, the debt over our heads." Kody's voice split in abruptly, firm and authoritative. "Meri," he said, not even trying to soften his tone, "we were a family. That family sponsored you for decades. Now it's your turn. Assist us, just until we get back on our feet." There was a pause of silence before Meri gave a dry laugh. It wasn't bitter, it was hurt, but unencumbered. "You're requesting my assistance? After all you two did to me? You discarded me like I was luggage. For years, I pleaded for crumbs of affection, and you abandoned me to decay." Robyn attempted to insert herself. "We didn't mean..." But Meri had discovered her voice, and this time it was firm. "Number? I won't help you," she said calmly and firmly. "I built everything I have without you, and now that your ship is sinking, you want a lifeboat from me? Number?" And she hung up. Silence then. Kody stood stock still, phone still against his ear, as if her voice would return. He hadn't really thought she'd hung up on him. But now, the quiet wasn't only economic, it was personal. With a raw scream, he threw the phone at the wall. It shattered into pieces. "This is your fault," he yelled at Robyn. "You pushed her out just like Christine and Janelle. You made her feel like nothing." Robyn winced but struck back. "And you let them go. You chose me over all of them. Don't lie about not knowing what you were doing." Kody covered his face with his hands, his voice cracking. "I thought she'd stay. I thought Meri loved me." Robyn's voice was spoken softly, almost icily. "She did. You simply didn't love her in return." There was a silence that followed that was choking. The house was larger than ever, emptier than ever, and heavy with ghosts of what had been. In Utah, Meri stood beside the window of her B&B and watched the wind swirl through the trees. For the first time in years, She felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Power. Not rage. Not retaliation. Just clarity. For years, Meri had patiently waited for Kody and Robyn to notice her, to select her, to treat her like she existed. But finally, she understood that the only one who needed to select her was her. She had to. She went to her desk and opened her journal. In the corner, she wrote down a note for the next retreat session. The moment clarity replaces longing. But out in her serene retreat, the storm was just starting. Word had spread. Kody and Robyn's fiscal plunge had spilled into the public eye. A source, maybe one of Robyn's children, or even a neighbor reported Kody been seen at a pawn shop in town. Robyn, also, was looking to sell off her jewelry. And yes, whisper had it, they even called on Meri for assistance, only to be turned down. The internet went abuzz. Longtime viewers and critics alike praised Meri's strength. TikToks and YouTube reaction videos exploded overnight. Meri finally said no. And for many fans, it was poetic justice. Karma had come knocking at the door of Robyn and Kody's Mansionan empire built on fractured promises. Even TLC seemed to notice. Whispers of a potential spin-off began circulating. A new show centered around Meri's journey, Meri's mountain retreat. It would showcase her fresh start, her circle of empowering women, and the healing work she was now leading for others. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn were left watching from the sidelines, helpless, forgotten, fading from relevance. In Flagstaff, the one-time proud mansion was now a jail of echoing regrets. The dense morning air clung to its tall windows. The sweeping ceilings, the marble sheenel of it now rang with desperation. The refrigerator contained almost nothing. The heating sounded raucous and wasteful. Laughter that once resounded through the halls had been replaced by a gnawing stillness. Kody sat at the kitchen table, covered in a mountain of bills. Past, due notices, IRS letters, utility threats, foreclosure warnings. Robyn stood over him, her voice a mere whisper from nights spent crying. "We waited too long," she croaked. "You promised Meri would help. I thought she would," Kody grumbled, but there was no passion in his voice, only defeat. "I didn't think she'd shut the door that hard." Robyn's bloodshot, red eyes looked up to him. "Do we sell the house?" Kody bristled. That house represented his final token of success, family, and power. If they sold it, what was left? But Robyn replied for him, softly. "I already called a realtor." Days after, in Utah, Meri stood silently drinking her coffee. The air was cool, the quiet soothing. She opened her mailbox, then hesitated. There was a small envelope, no address, handwritten, not a business letter, not an email, a note ungroomed, raw, from Robyn. "Meri, I don't know what else to do. I'm writing you not as a sister, wife, or someone who wronged you, but as a mother. We're drowning. The children are frightened. You didn't deserve what you got. I don't know where we ended up. I'm sorry. I should have fought for you. I should have fought harder. I regret how we treated you. But now, I'm on my knees, begging, not for me, for them, the children, please. Could you manage to find it in your heart to assist? Just enough to ensure they have a home." Meri read it once, then twice, then a third time. Hours went by. At last, with a quiet steadiness, she put the letter on her desk, refolded it back into its envelope, and wrote one word on the back: pawned in public. A week later, a hazy photograph appeared online. It depicted a tired-looking, pale Kody Brown standing outside Easy Pawn holding a battered briefcase and a modest jewelry box. The Facebook posting read, "Guess who's cashing in old memories? Number reality collapse." The post immediately went viral. Fans and erstwhile supporters inundated the comments with scathing truth. "You betrayed the women who built your empire. Meri, Janelle, and Christine deserved better. Robyn's dream mansion? Over." Even ex-cast members began subtly weighing in. Janelle shared a mysterious Instagram story of herself trekking up a mountain trail. The caption? "When you let go of other people's illusions, your burdens become lighter." Christine shared a selfie from her Utah porch, smiling while drinking tea. The caption simply stated, "Peace is priceless," and the timing couldn't have been sharper. In the background, TLC executives were waiting with bated breath. Fans were getting weary of the drama with Kody and Robyn. Ratings had been declining in recent seasons, and the network was starved for a change. But this latest collapse? This wasn't staged drama. It was unfiltered, authentic, and of its own doing. They set up a Zoom call. Kody and Robyn waited nervously on the call when the network rep came on, cool but firm. "Kody, we've greenlit a new Sister Wives special." Robyn's face lit up, hope flickering for the first time in weeks. "Redemption," she thought. "A second chance." "Not exactly," the exec clarified. "It's titled The Last Wife Standing." Robyn blinked. Kody stiffened. "It focuses on Meri," the exec continued. "Her withdrawal, her healing, her new life. Christine and Janelle will appear in future episodes." Kody exploded. "So you're cutting me out?" The executive didn't flinch. "No, Kody, you cut yourself out." The mansion lay silent that night. Robyn wept softly in another bedroom. And Kody? He sat in the darkness by himself, among the wreckage of all he once ruled: his family, his money, and now, his narrative. He grabbed his phone, gazing at Meri's contact. One final text, one final plea, thought about recording an audio memo. But instead, he hesitated, then deleted her number. Throughout the state, Meri stood before a ring of women at her retreat. She shared her story: years of being ignored, rejected, and dismissed. Then came the day she chose herself. "When you stop running after people who didn't choose you," she said gently, "you hear the voice that did, always your own." There were tears and cheers, and something stronger than either: restoration. Meri had discovered her strength. And what about Kody? He was all that had been left behind: a house full of specters, a monument to denial, a mansion of illusions. In Flagstaff, meanwhile, the atmosphere was tense inside the large home of Robyn. What had once resonated with children's laughter and carefully practiced harmony now rang with tension, silence, and emotional fatigue. At the kitchen table, Robyn sat staring at a stack of documents: overdue credit card bills, a bank rejection, a utility cutoff warning, and a property tax demand. She hadn't eaten in nearly 2 days. Most of her cherished jewelry gifts from Kody in their younger years was gone, pawned off for far less than they were worth. In the other room, Aurora crouched on the couch, phone clutched in her hand, folded arms tight. Her eyes laced with worry, disappointment, and something freshware glued to her mother in silence. She had held it in all these months. At last, her words pierced the room. "Why did you bring us into this?" Robyn glanced up, taken aback. "What?" Aurora repeated herself, a bit louder this time. "Why did you think this would all be fine? The mansion, the decisions, this entire life. What made you think it was all going to pay off?" Robyn blinked, voice soft and trembly. "I was trying to keep you safe, protect you." "By keeping us from everyone?" Aurora's voice intensified. "You didn't merely try to defend us, Mom. You controlled everything. You told us Meri was unstable, that Christine was selfish, that Janelle didn't care. You ensured we viewed them the way you wanted us to." She took a sharp breath, shaking. "And now I see, you and Kody forced everyone away. And now it's just us." Robyn's mouth quivered. "Don't say that. You don't know the sacrifices." "I know," Aurora cut in. "I've watched for years. You manipulated everything. You never let us decide for ourselves. You forced us to choose sides before we even knew we were choosing against someone." Robyn was taken aback for a moment. Her daughter had never talked to her in such a manner, not even through the worst of teenage years. "You deceived us," Aurora whispered. "You used Kody as a tool, and he's not even a dad anymore. He's just a bitter man walking around a house that no longer feels like home." And then, the unthinkable occurred. Later that evening, Aurora went live on TikTok. In her bedroom, bathed in the dim light of a bedside lamp, she gripped her phone in shaking hands. Her tear-smudged face gazed into the camera. She sat by herself in her bedroom, the dim light creating long shadows across the walls. With tears streaming down her face and the camera shakily held in her hand, Aurora pressed record. Her voice quivered as she said words that would soon echo throughout the internet. "I don't know who needs to hear this," she started, "but sometimes your parents lie to you. It was a confession, a declaration, and it seemed that the storm was brewing. She continued by saying that to maintain power, the people who raise you can turn others into the villains. One morning, you wake up and find yourself you were complicit in the deception. You helped keep a version of the truth alive that was not true. Aurora gasped for breath and, through her tears, spoke directly to the women who'd been pushed to the fringes. To Christine, Janelle, and Meri, if you ever get to see this, I am truly sorry. I believed what I was told. I took it all at face value. But now I see you. I see all of it. The video was raw and truthful and it went viral online in hours. TikTok was filled with shares. Sister Wives devotees shared it on all platforms. Comment streams lit up. This is heartbreaking. She's breaking the cycle. Robyn's grip is slipping. The internet hadn't seen anything like it from this family. Then came the collapse. Robyn had only just finished viewing the video. She stood in the hallway, stunned and crumpled. Her knees gave way beneath her, and she collapsed to the floor in floods of uncontrollable sobbing. Kody hurried to her, but she pushed him aside. She betrayed me, Robyn screamed. My own daughter betrayed me. But Kody couldn't even glance at her. The quiet between them was deafening, beyond any scream, because in the depths of his soul, he knew the truth. They had constructed this fantasy together. Robyn sat on the chilly tiles, her sobs ringing in an empty house that now seemed more of a prison. Her carefully constructed facade of sweetness, harmony, and devotion was shattering, and even her children could now penetrate it. Then another twist. Late that evening, Meri's phone vibrated in Utah. It was an Instagram direct message from Aurora. Hi Meri, the message started. You're probably going to be surprised to get this, but I need to tell you something. For so long, I took what I was told about you at face value, but I know better now. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You didn't deserve what went down. Meri gazed at the message for a moment, before it sank in. Then she responded, thanks for telling me. It takes guts to know what you see. I wish you peace, and you do deserve it too. And just like that, the ripple became a wave. News stations jumped on the story. Headlines went viral. Daughter of Sister Wives star speaks out. Robyn's web of deception exposed. Kody Brown's daughter breaks the silence, family unraveling. Public sympathy surged toward Meri. Her redemption arc, once slow and uncertain, now gained momentum. Fans weren't just forgiving her, they were rallying behind her. Then came the call from TLC. Producers reached out to Meri for a sit-down special. Christine and Janelle had already agreed to appear this time, without Robyn. Even more shocking, Aurora wanted to tell her story, on camera. At the same time, in Robyn's dark bedroom, the blinds were shut, her phone was turned off. She sat in bed, holding a wedding picture that now seemed pointless. The walls were caving in. Back in Los Angeles, in a modern boardroom at TLC headquarters, the producers replayed Aurora's TikTok over and over. The video was jerky, the lighting warm, but the authenticity in her voice was unmistakable. There wasn't a script writer on earth who could capture that level of unvarnished honesty. Executive producer Vanessa McKenna leaned forward, her tone firm and decisive. This is it, she told him. This is the reckoning. We bring everyone in, Meri, Christine, Janelle, the older kids, even Aurora. And we confront them with Kody and Robyn. She pushed a folder across the table. On the cover, Sister Wives, The Reckoning, a one-night special event. Status, approved. Fast-tracked. All the big networks were waiting. The week that followed was set. The soundstage was shaped like a warm family living room, neutral-colored couches, dim lamp glow, crackling fireplace. But the tension in the room was anything but tranquil. Christine stood straight in a plum-colored blazer, arms crossed, eyes bright with intent. Janelle, in forest green, exuded calm power. This was no longer merely a reality show. This was the moment everything shifted. Meri sat quietly, her stance unbreakable, radiating a stillness of strength, tempered by decades of suffering and survival. Aurora sat next to her, clearly apprehensive but firm. Her hand shook a little, but the look in her eyes was that of one who had reconciled with the price of dissent. The silence in the room was broken as celebrated reunion host Julia Matt took center stage. Famed for her bold fashion sense and unwillingness to soften anything, she looked out at the set with a stern face. She glanced in the direction of the curtain. "And now," she declared brusquely, "appearing with us tonight Robyn Brown and Kody Brown." The tension increased. Kody led the way, his face tight and guarded, as he searched the stage like a patrol going into hostile ground. He nodded briskly at Meri, Janelle, and Kristen, and only of them replied. Their faces did not move. "We're not warm. We're not open." Robyn trailed behind, ashen and clearly drained. Her gaze fell on Aurora, but Aurora denied even glancing her direction. Robyn hesitated for a fraction of a second, shocked, before averting her gaze and shambling to the couch next to Kody. Then Julia leapt headfirst into the flames. "There won't be any apology lines tonight," she said firmly. "The problem is truth years of it, buried, ignored, and distorted. Let's start with the question the whole world has been asking. How did this family dissolve so utterly?" Janelle leaned forward, her voice calm but knife-edged. "Kody built a kingdom where just one queen was important," she said, her tone dull. "He demanded loyalty without ever having to win it. And when we fought back, he labeled it betrayal." Christine picked up where she left off without skipping a beat. "But it wasn't betrayal. We were merely trying to endure you, Kody." Kody clenched his jaw, but stayed silent. "You don't understand how difficult it was," he started, but Meri interrupted sternly. "Stop. Be quiet. Be truthful. We do know, because we lived it. While you were playing house with Robyn, you disregarded us. You emotionally abandoned us. You rejected us." Robyn flinched, her face shattering under the impact of the words. Julia turned to Aurora. "Now, let's discuss the video. The world has seen it. Do you wish to speak to your parents now?" Aurora's breath caught. She nodded. "Mom, Dad," she said, voice firm but gentle. "Sorry for hurting you, but I have to tell you this: you didn't protect us. You protected your version of things. You made everyone else the enemy, and I only ever truly saw when I walked outside your walls." Her voice cracked, her eyes filling with tears. "You forced me to choose sides, but I never had one of my own until now." She leaned over and grasped Meri's hand, squeezing it with a gentleness that made the whole room freeze. Robyn snapped. Sobs gushed from her lips. "I did my best to keep this family together," she sobbed. Meri didn't react. Her response was soft, adamant. You tried everything to exclude me." And then all eyes fell on Kody. Julia turned back. "Kody, it hurts, watching your own kids opt for truth rather than unthinking loyalty. Do you bear any responsibility for how it ended?" The studio descended into an unsettling quiet. Christine leaned forward, challenging him with her eyes. "Say it, just once. Say it out loud." Kody's voice cracked. "I messed up," he said, just above a whisper. "I didn't know how to be just. When Christine left, I panicked. When Janelle confronted me, I was angry. And I treated Meri like she was invisible." He wiped his face. "I abandoned you all, and I used Robyn as my refuge. I kept telling myself I was protecting the family, but actually, I was protecting my ego." For the first time in years, Kody had spoken without defensiveness, without spin. The room waited. No one stirred. And then, Robyn disintegrated. "I was the one left to deal with the fallout," she yelled. "You all betrayed me. Every one of you turned their backs." But the room refused to meet her anger. They didn't debate or defend. They simply watched. And in that silence, the truth became irrefutable. This wasn't betrayal. This was reckoning. "I became the villain because of you," Robyn whispered, her voice breaking. But the room froze again this time, pierced by Christine's voice. Cold, controlled, lethal. "No, Robyn, you became the villain the moment you chose silence while the rest of us suffered. You turned your back when we were crying out for help. You took the love, the money, the attention, and hoarded it. That wasn't done to you. You chose it." Her voice sharpened. "You watched Meri, the most loyal among us, get tossed aside like she didn't matter. And you said nothing." Meri gave a slow, painful nod. The truth of it was undeniable. "And now, you sit there begging for sympathy while refusing to take any accountability," Christine finished. Robyn collapsed forward, sobbing uncontrollably. But this time, even Kody didn't move to comfort her. There was no coming back from this. Julia, ever the professional, cleared her throat gently. One final question for the group, she said. What comes next? Christine didn't hesitate. We move forward. We heal. We liven up with Kody, not with Robyn. Without them, Janelle followed. We choose peace. We put our children first. We protect our mental space and we never look back. Meri's eyes burned with quiet truth. We reclaim our stories. We stop confusing pain for love. Then Aurora, voice unwavering, delivered the closing line. We break the cycle. The camera panned to Kody, but this time, he had nothing to say. And for the first time in Sister Wives history, he finally understood. His voice no longer held the power. The narrative had moved on without him. Critics called it the most unforgettable reunion special in over a decade, but it wasn't just watched, it was felt. It was truth, raw and unfiltered. If you were as impacted as we were, share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more real, unscripted truth from Sister Wives Daily. Thanks for watching.